when we analyze it, we want to see this in angles, and we don't necessarily want to see it in radians and stuff like that. So it'll be weird if we are looking at it like that. So let's go ahead and place angles in degrees. And I'll just close this. And I don't necessarily need that to be a capital G, a capital D, it just needs to be a lowercase. Then right here, I am going to use the following formula, where this is equal to our angle in radians, and we're going to convert it by multiplying it by 180 and then dividing this by pi. Okay, so here's our pi function, and that will convert things over for us, and you'll see nicely that we have our angle here, and I'll just select on this and then fill it down. Oh, didn't go far enough. All right. I didn't mean to do that. Go back one. Okay. So now it is filled, and I want you to observe the angles. If we're just looking at this column, and when I say this column, I'm speaking about column E, and I'll just highlight it for a brief moment. So you'll see that we have 177. We know that in the video we started on the far left-hand side, at 180 degrees. Okay, and so at 180 degrees, we're near 177, but then it goes to a negative 178, and that happens because of how Excel actually measures things. So if I draw something like so, Excel is going to measure angles from the positive x-axis over to the negative x-axis, and then it's going to exclude 180, and then once it gets across the 180 mark, it's going to measure in the opposite direction. Okay, so if we have it in the opposite direction, you know that you can see these numbers changing, and they're giving us negative angles. So if you wanted to think about it, this would be like our 177.6 on this side. That would be this angle here, and then the other angle is like a negative 178. And it just has to do with the nature of how Microsoft Excel measures angles. But we don't want that. We want our angles to go around like so. Okay, we want to increase our angle measure. So we know that the 177 is correct, even the 178 is correct under this kind of thinking, but now we want to change that 178 to a positive angle. We want this 178 to be measured from this side. So this is how we're going to do this. I'm going to get rid of all of this stuff that I drew on the side here. Okay. And then I'm going to go home. I'm going to get rid of this color here. Just say no fill. Okay. And I'm going to go into my angle, my radian measure here. So I'm going to go right here, right next to this radian measure, and I'm going to add 2 times pi. And there's the pi. Okay. So you'll see that this changes the angle right here to like 181. Okay. If I pull this down a little bit, you'll notice that the angles are increasing just like we want. 177, 181, 184, 189, and they're increasing nicely. And it's about 4 points between each one. So you'll see that we have this negative 148. We don't want to see jumps like that. Or if it was 1048, we don't want to see a jump like that. So let me go in here, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill this one all the way down. Okay. I'm going to select right here and then just pull this all the way down, and we'll analyze our data again to see what's happening. So if I go from the top again and now look at our angles here, you'll notice that the angles are just increasing. And let me go ahead and fill this again. Just going to give it another color like orange. So we'll notice that the angles are filling and they're increasing nicely. All right. So I can just take more snapshots. Just keep going on up. You'll see that it'll end up around 360. Okay. It is already made. Now at this point, it has made it back to 0. So let's continue on. It's going on around, on around. It's going on around. And then we end up at like 536. This is now, it's back on the negative X axis, but we have this 180 here. So you'll see that we have 2 pi right here, and we have 2 pi right here. We now have to add or increase our value for pi by 4. So I'll just put 4 in here, and you'll see now that we have 540. So they're increasing nice and sequentially. Okay.